episode 7, season 8, Lockdown. It's your boy Icon with some DC TV. And we're going over this episode of The Flash. And this was a quick one. This is definitely a quick one, but The Flash is back. Like I said before, it seems like after the Armageddon crossover and then after the episode with the kids, I feel like now like the show is actually like the show's finally started. So, in this particular, and there's a lot that I missed because in this particular episode, I legitimately forgot that Kramer was in charge of like the CCPD. I was just like, when did this happen? And then for some reason, I just realized after 8 seasons that the police department takes place on the second floor. And for some reason, I thought it was ground floor this whole time. It was just, it's very weird. Like, the whole thing is very weird. But anyway, so the episode starts where there's some criminals doing criminal things. And then the Flash, you know, like he takes down the criminals and he brings them back to GCPD. Yeah, no, not GCPD. Did I say GCPD? CCPD for, to be put in custody. But then Kramer, who's the boss now, apparently, she's complaining because she's just like, oh, the Flash, like, he brought these people in and we don't know what crimes they committed. We don't have any witnesses, blah, blah, blah. But then Chester P, all 3 of those incidents where all 3 of those criminals were pulling off criminal acts, Chester P got a report. Like, he actually got like a report over the radio waves that these crimes were taking place. And Star Labs doesn't have like a magical, satellite where they can just magically track criminal behavior. Those criminal activities had to come from someplace. They had to come from like an outside source, like a police scanner. So if the call goes over the police scanner and then that police scanner call ends up going to Star Labs for Team Flash, you know the crimes that were committed because they went over the police scanner. So I didn't understand why she said that, but her whole thing was she was just like, oh, we need to act, it'd be nice if we could work with the Flash and instead of like, him doing his thing and us doing our thing. And then she was just like, now I got to do all this paperwork and, like, it's just like, it's not an ideal situation. And Barry was trying to defend himself because he's the Flash. And then Kramer, she was just trying to say, she was like, I don't have a problem with the Flash, but she was like, I just wish that, we would work more closely together. So while they're doing that, so then Barry tried to like clean up the whole thing where he ended up doing like forensic work, ended up doing his job to get actual evidence on the cases of people that the Flash had brought in. But then Kramer was just like, okay, this is cool for these 3 people, but what happens next time when the Flash brings somebody else in? She said there just needs to be more direct communication between us, between us and the Scarlet Speedster. And then after that, like, once that happened, the elevator opened and there was like a smoke bomb that went off in the elevator and it knocked out the entire CCPD, the Flash included. When everybody woke up, the returning Goldface, Goldface, he came back. He had everybody tied up and he put like bomb bracelets, like a la Suicide Squad, on all the officers, which also operate as like metahuman cuffs, like metahuman like dampening cuffs, because he said that he saw the news report where Kramer had outed herself as a meta, and he's like, now I feel like you're not the only person in the police department who's a meta, so just to be on the safe side, everybody gets meta dampening cuffs, and that sucks because you're with the Flash, and he's searching for something. He's still with Amulet, and this was a very cool callback. He recognized Barry as being the chemist from the episode where both he and Ralph went undercover to try to get those metahuman weapons. And then Barry's just like, oh, I was undercover back then. He's like, I should blow your ass right now. That was a very funny episode. And then, but he said that there was something that he wanted. He wanted a weapon. And the weapon that he wanted was the gun that Joe had in like previous season, where it would fire bullets at metahumans that would automatically issue the metahuman cure to them. And he was going to sell that to the highest bidder because he said that if you have these bullets, you can basically like stop any metahuman, you can cure any metahuman, including the Flash. And Kramer's the only person who knows where the weapons and the bullets are because she's the captain. So he was trying to get Kramer to tell him, like where it was. She didn't want to do it. He threatened the lives of everybody in the station. And then he threatened Barry's life. But then Barry said, hey, listen, he was like, those meta bullets, they run off of a certain like frequency or like a certain like signature. He said, I can build a device that can track that signature so we can find them and you don't got to kill anybody. So Goldface, he decides to do it. He goes upstairs to like Barry's like crime lab. He brings Kramer with him. And then instead of Barry building using a machine to track the bullets. He actually built like a sonic device that pierced everyone's ears, and it gave, once they were distracted, it gave both he and Kramer like a chance to get away and to run away. But Goldface didn't blow them up with the meta cuffs because he still needs Kramer, and as long as Kramer's with Barry, he's not going to blow Barry's cuffs up either, because then that could accidentally kill Kramer. So Kramer and Barry, now they're hiding in the closet. While they're hiding in the closet, Barry tells her, he's like, listen, you have metahuman abilities, you got to use your ability, because since she has the ability to mimic metahuman abilities, her DNA is always changing, because her DNA constantly changes to mimic the power of the person that, of the meta that she's closely in contact with. And I guess due to some like biological reason that they explained that I didn't completely understand, basically because of her metahuman ability, it short-circuited the bomb. So now she has her full-blown metahuman ability, and Barry was telling her, you can mimic Goldface's ability to control the gold, and then you can save everybody at the GCPD. And then that's when Kramer was just like, yeah, but I can't use my power because it's dangerous and people could get hurt. I don't know how to use my power. And then she was just like, I was hoping that I could, she was like, I don't even have a teacher or somebody that could show me how to be a good metahuman. And then that's when it dawned on Barry. He was like, that's why you wanted the Flash to work closely with the CCPD, because you wanted the Flash to train you in your metahuman ability. And then she was like, yes, but that's not going to happen, Alan, because we can't get a hold of the Flash. So then so then like Barry gave her the old Barry Allen pep talk. She decides to go out there and confront Goldface. Meanwhile, Barry tried to free himself and get the metahuman cuffs off of him. So, and he did the dumbest thing of all time. Instead of him coming up with like some elaborate machine or some device that could have got the thing off, he basically just broke it off. And then when the explosion went off, because he's the Flash, he was able to run fast enough to stop him, like to get out of the room before the explosion, like got to him. The only jacked up thing about it was he destroyed everything that was in that closet, because they had a lot of weapons and stuff in that closet. Kramer, for a moment, she ended up controlling like, Goldface's gold power, and she had her hand on his golden chain. He had his hand on the chain. The two of them were going tug and war with the gold chain. But then her controlling his power went away, and then her hand started shaking, and then she ended up getting like the Flash's speed power. And then, after Goldface, got the chain away from her, he was like, now everybody's gonna die. But then the Flash swooped in, he tied up Goldface, he tied up all of his crew, he freed all the police officers, and then the Flash saved the day. Later on, like, I guess it was like the next day or whatever, because Kramer was like, oh, what about Alan? And then the Flash was like, don't worry, I got him out just in time. But then the next day, the Flash, not Barry Allen, the Flash, he went to Kramer's office to give her, like a calling device, like how Superman and Supergirl have the watch. He gave her a device. He was just like, hey, listen, if you ever need help or if you need assistance, you can always call me on this. And then he was just like, I'm going to trust you with my secret identity. And then she said, you don't have to, Alan. She was like, I know it's you. And then Barry was like, how do you know it's me? How do you know I'm the Flash? And then she said, I found the bracelet that you were wearing that, that blew up in the lab. And then she said that the only way you could have outrun that explosion would be as if you had super speed, if you were the Flash. But she never told him that she also mimicked his power downstairs, which is how she knew too. Because the thing about it is, for her to say there's only one way you could have outrun that explosion, how does she know the Flash didn't run him out of that room? So that was basically just like a wild guess on her part. Like, she put two and two together with her getting Flash metahuman power, the bracelet being left behind, and then the explosion and everything. So she got lucky on that, and then he just confirmed it, when he took off the mask. But, but he extended the hand of friendship, and he told her, he was like, listen, I'm going to train you. Don't even worry about it. It's going to be all gravy. They shook hands, and then that's how the whole thing ended. So in other Team Flash news, Allegra and Chester are still trying to decide if they want to be a thing or not. Caitlin, she's dating the doctor that Alex from Supergirl had suggested to her. I'm gonna be honest, I don't see it. The two of them came in the bar together. The actor that they picked to play the boyfriend or the guy that Caitlin is dating, I don't see it. Like, I'm just like, that's all I'm gonna say. I don't see it. But then it was this whole thing where, because like Killer Frost, she's dating like the Blaine guy, and then Caitlin was jealous because she has a happy relationship, so she got mad and she was like, I hate your boyfriend. And then the boyfriend talked to Caitlin, and he was just like, listen, you gotta forgive yourself, and you gotta give yourself a chance at love, and blah blah blah. And then like Caitlin opened up. But one thing this episode showed me, we don't get a lot of Caitlin anymore, because I'm so and actually and Danielle Panabaker, this goes to show how good she is as an actress. She's so good at being Killer Frost. I forget sometimes that she is Caitlin. And because we got an episode based on Caitlin, I wasn't used to that, and I'm sitting here thinking this is weird. Like I feel like I haven't seen Caitlyn in like 3 years, you know. But but so it's nice to get like a Caitlyn-centered episode. So like I said, she's gonna try to patch things up with the guy that she's dating that she's not a match for, and she forgave like Killer Frost's boyfriend, and they're gonna be like all hunky dory going forward. And then finally, in the last scene, Iris West, like the beautiful Iris West Allen, she was at home talking to her dad. Her and her dad had like a meal, whatever, like they were eating. And then Iris, she said that she was going to get some more of the food. But then all of a sudden, the spoon that was in her hand had disappeared. And then the table was completely clear. Joe said he was going to go upstairs to check on his baby daughter. But then after all the food disappeared, after the table got cleared, Joe came in from outside. And then Iris was like, hold up. She was like, wasn't you just going upstairs to check on Jenna? And then he was like, yeah, that was like a while ago. He said, but then you asked me to go to the park, the car to get some, get these files, whatever. So I got you the files. And then that's when Iris started freaking out. And then like her eyes turned green. See, she's getting the time suit basically. Because what's happening is in the crossover, Dion was using the Still Force energy to stabilize Iris because apparently her being trapped in the Mirrorverse did something to her that's causing her to fluctuate throughout time. Dion stabilized her, but then he had to remove all the still particles that he put in her because she needed it to find out who really killed her dad in the crossover, in the Armageddon crossover. Now that she no longer has the Still Force in her system, her body is continuing to fluctuate through time, but now it's getting to the point where she's jumping forward. Like there's probably going to be situations where she'll jump backwards in time, she'll jump forwards in time, and she's basically like her body is basically like unstable, and it's causing her to move, like seconds, minutes, hours throughout time. So they're going to end up building a time suit for her that will stabilize her ability, and then we get the Iris West time suit that we got in the comic. And I'm excited about that because I want to see where that goes. And if she's doing this whole thing now where she has a time suit, I'd also like to see her on Legends of Tomorrow. So that was it. I mean, anytime I can get Iris West, I'm going to enjoy it. And I hope the suit that they give her is tight as hell. So that was it, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for tuning in. Like I said, like very straightforward episode of The Flash. We're just trying to get, like this is one of those episodes that's like a stepping stone to get to the next episode. So we'll see what happens because there's no big bad this season. I mean, unless Despero comes back, which Despero will come back. The Reverse Flash is going to come back. All the people from the crossover are going to come back, but there's still no like immediate threat in sight to the point where we're aware of where the big bad is. So let's just enjoy the Flash ride while they give us these random episodes until like the actual theme, like the purpose of the season actually kicks in. But so far it looks like we're going in the time direction with Iris, and I'm definitely here for it. So like I said, so thank you for tuning in. Check me out on Instagram and Twitter, always on YouTube. Share, share my videos, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you'll get notified when my videos pop up, because we got Superman and Lois on the channel. We got Naomi as well, and we're currently still waiting for Young Justice to come back so we can review that too. So that's it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. Until next time, Need for Speed. Be back in the Flash, because we have this.